want to introduce Bob Hunt, who's going to give a few introductory remarks. And Bob probably needs no introduction for many of you, but Bob is a Senior Vice President here at the Philadelphia Fed and the Associate Director of our Consumer Finance Institute. And so I will hand it over to Bob. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Bob Hunt. I'm the Associate Director of the Consumer Finance Institute here at Philadelphia. And on behalf of the organizing committee, which includes Sean Ann, Neil Buddha, Renella Lewell, Lori Lambie-Hansen, and James Vickery, and the Academic Program Committee, I want to welcome you to our second Mortgage Markets Research Conference. Now, later in this conference, you'll learn about the entire army of staff who supported the logistics and communications for this event. But I want to especially call out CFI's Nicole Rizzo. Without her, none of this today and tomorrow would have happened. I want to invoke the following disclaimer for myself and all of the Federal Reserve participants at this event. Our remarks are going to be our own, not necessarily those of the Consumer Finance Institute, not necessarily those of the Philadelphia Fed or the Federal Reserve System. Now, if you're like me, you might be thinking, why another conference? There are so many these days, right? Why participate in this Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia conference? What is unique about what we're doing here? And I would say it begins with the Consumer Finance Institute itself. As in academia, the purpose of an institute is to cross departmental boundaries and leverage the interests and complementarities of the entire organization. And it also enables economies of scale and scope. And that is exactly what we do here in Philadelphia. The organizing committee that I mentioned consists of participants in the Institute from our research department, our supervision department, and our interdisciplinary group that Julia Cheney and I directly manage. Inside these walls, we call ourselves Core CFI. Taken together, this institute represents 60 to 70 researchers from each of these areas, plus our friends in community development and regional outreach. In addition, we are complemented by relationships with about 50 visiting scholars and practitioners from around the world. To give you an example of how all this comes together, I invite you to take a look at a short article that Lauren wrote last year summarizing the bank's recent contributions to housing and mortgage market research and policy. And I actually left copies over there to the right of the sodas if you'd like to pick up a copy and take a look. Now, last year, this team produced 24 articles that were accepted for publication in some of the very best academic journals and in book volumes. They produced another 30 plus articles for academic and policy audiences, as well as for the general public. In addition to organizing 7 conferences last year, we held more than 30 workshops and seminars. This year, Philadelphia is organizing or co-organizing 7 conferences that are related to consumer finance. This includes the upcoming virtual workshop on credit card lending, consumer finance, and AI that will be held on June 27th. And that is organized by Philadelphia's Supervisory Research and Policy Forum. And we're also organizing a workshop on changing demographics and housing demand, and that's going to be held in Washington on October 24th and 25th. If you're interested in these conferences for the Credit Cards Conference, please reach out to Jose Canales, who's over here, and to Lauren for the Housing Conference, she's over here. Clearly, Philadelphia is a nursery for research, collaboration, and interaction on all topics consumer finance. Now, this research could not be supported without abundant access to data and computing resources. And Philadelphia leads and manages what we call RADAR, which is the system's data warehouse for several hundred terabytes of consumer finance data, and is the source of the system's subject matter expertise on these data. CFI also actively investigates and acquires new and unique data sets. Just a few months ago, we launched our new Life Survey, a quarterly survey of consumers that documents conditions in terms of labor, income, finances, and expectations. Modules from that survey, together with its predecessor survey, the COVID-19 survey of consumers, have informed many specific research projects on timely questions in consumer finance. Just as an example, and I'll admit this is off topic, it was the principal source of our 4-part series on the resumption of student loan repayment that we published in January and February of this year. The primary goal of CFI is to produce cutting-edge, policy-relevant research that is grounded in reality and is timely. information that is available to decision makers at the time that they must make the important decisions. Postmortems are great, but our goal is to inform better decisions in the first place. Now, how do we do that? Obviously, we use all the resources I just described. In addition, many of us are in the trenches participating in the annual stress test exercises. We're engaged in the horizontal exams of consumer credit portfolios. We're valuing the security portfolios of banks. And especially in core CFI, we are regularly engaged with market participants, trying to understand the opportunities and risks that they see 2 years out. And we're interacting with policymakers to understand the questions they need answered. And all the time, we're interacting with the best researchers in the profession, many of you in this room. And this brings me to you and to this conference. This conference gives us the opportunity to spend time with you. Many of you are familiar colleagues and friends. Some of you are new to us, and we're excited to learn more about you and your research. We are excited to see the papers presented here. We could only select a handful from more than 100 very high-quality submissions. Examining the agenda, you can see how the CFI lens is reflected in the structure and topics featured in this conference. And I should say food. We'll get to food later. We begin the first part of our conference with several panels that are important right now, both to policymakers and to researchers. We begin with a discussion of how the mortgage market has been affected by the interest rate cycle, and how could you not have a topic like that at a Federal Reserve conference. Our second panel discusses regulatory developments and the latest thinking about policy innovations. And this is followed by a poster session and a reception, and did I say food? We pick up on the second day with 4 sessions featuring new research on many topics that are important today. This includes the role of mortgage refinancing, managing debt relief in times of crisis, and changes in technology and market structure. We close with a provocative lightning session. While we're just beginning our time here, I want to plant the seed that our greatest hope is that this is just the beginning of a conversation with you, hopefully leading to collaborations that will extend the frontier of consumer finance research far and into the future. So thank you very much for participating.